Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel, Trading Secrets. This channel is for entertainment purposes only. For those of you who do not know, my name is Ali. I have over 20 years experience teaching accounting, economics, business and law. And through this channel, I'll be providing some stock analysis and also an update on our $1 Million Challenge, so please stay tuned. In the previous video, we did an estimated calculation of the dividend, potential dividend for TRCH holders. And I'm going to do a follow-up on that. There are some additional questions to be addressed, so we're going to have a look at them in today's video. Before we do that, quick update of our $1 Million Challenge. So if you have a look at the screen here, in terms of the journey, it's a journey from an investment of $1,000 to $1 million over a period of 3 years, looking at 201 trades, each trade with an average return of 3.5%. So it's not 201 consecutive trades, it's 201 trades with an average return of 3.5%, and we do take into account losses. So in the challenge there is a spreadsheet with specially chosen stocks for the challenge that you can use. We have a very helpful Discord community growing, almost 300 now, working together to share due diligence, to share technical analysis, chart analysis, trading tips and sharing of buys. So further details in the description below in terms of the $1 Million Challenge. For anybody who did not watch the previous video, there is a more in-depth analysis of calculation and how I got to the projected dividend calculation. So I'm going to remind you of the calculation on the screen here. So if we have a look here, in the previous video, this was my estimated calculation of the potential dividend for qualifying members of previous preferred shares. So we're looking at 134,000 acres in the Rio Grande region that the company held. $25,000 was the figure that I used per acre, netting a total sales just in excess of 2 billion, 10% legal and admin fees, and then the calculation was $11.45 per share using 175 million shares, which was calculated based on George's tweet. And I also added in what I thought was a conservative $1 from the Permian Basin sale, giving a total value of $12.45. So that was the projected dividend calculation. What I'd now like to do is address a few additional questions. And before we do that, I think I'd like to follow this up by one of the comments, which I think is very, very interesting. So I'd now like to give a shout out to MVP Chair, who made a very interesting comment. But before we look at that, in terms of general feedback, many people did think my calculation was a little bit optimistic, which I can understand in terms of what we've been through with MMAT. However, MVP Chair is the opposite. He thinks my calculation was quite bearish and it should have been much more. So let's have a look at what MVP Chair is saying. So he's saying Saint's analysis is way off. So this is the one that I used in terms of a guide for the valuation of the acre price. So what he said is, according to his information, geologists in 2019 said $41,000 per acre. And oil at that time, he's saying, was in the low $50 per barrel. So he's now basically saying, let's try $3.7 billion times 70 for the barrel of oil, and he's looking at now $50,000 per acre times by $50,000 per acre, yes, times by 134,000 acres in terms of what he thinks is doable. So I did respond and said nothing is going to please me more to be proven wrong, and if the dividend is twice as much as my prediction, then no complaints whatsoever. He's also followed on to say that Torch later drilled an 8,000 foot well and found more benches and pools. So certainly a very bullish response there from MVP Chair. What I'd now like to do is follow up on another possible implication and some further questions regarding the dividend. So before we look at these, I'd like to give a shout out here to James A. Vincent in response to his tweet. So let's have a look at why we're going to look at his tweet and the information contained in the tweet. So what he said here in his tweet is he didn't just open Oilco on August the 31st, 2021. He's referring to George here. He suddenly got a thirst for oil, and George wants to feel the heat with Sage and give us an exciting fall. So I think it was a very well thought out plan. After all, we always thought the Torch land would be sold to an oil company. So there's a little bit of speculation here. So let's dig into this company, Oilco Holdings Incorporated. So what I would now like to do is have a look at the open database of the corporate world. So let's have a look at the screen here and see what we can pick up in terms of this company. So there is a company here, Oilco Holdings Incorporated. We've got a company number there. Status is active, so the company is still valid. In terms of the incorporation date, this was registered on the 31st of August 2021. It's a domestic corporation. Jurisdiction is in Nevada. This is where it gets a little bit more interesting. The directors and the officers named are George Palikaras as the president. So we have the registry page there. We have the filings for the initial list. We have the filings for articles of incorporation. And what I can see here is in terms of the articles for incorporation, they are registering this as a profit company. So certainly the objective that implies is there is going to be generation of revenue. There is going to be selling. Without selling, you cannot get profit. So that's added into the articles of incorporation. So let's have a look at the events on the right hand side. Addition of officer was done on the 31st of August. It was also incorporated on the 31st of August. So let's see what else we can find in terms of this open database. The next piece of information I'm going to share with you now is from the Nevada Business Portal. So again, we're going to look at business information with regard to Oilco. And at the end, I'm going to make a few comments with regard to potential impact of this for the dividend. So let's just have a look at the information in terms of what we can find out. So it's called Oilco Holdings Incorporated. It's a domestic corporation. It was just formed on the 31st of August, as we've already seen. We have the entity number, we have the annual report date. This is not going to be due until 31st of August 2022, so they don't have to produce any accounts yet for another year. In terms of the individual name on the legal entity, it's Corporate Creations Network Incorporated. Status is active. The registered agent type, it's a commercial registered agent, and the jurisdiction is in Florida. Okay, so this next page is, there is no information on this page, but the reason why I want to show you this page is this was a link under mergers and conversions. So if we look at the bottom there, we do have confirmation here. There are no records to show or view for mergers and conversions. So what we have here is no indication of any merger going on with Oilco or Meta or any other organization. So no mergers to show on this page. On the next page, what I'd now like to do is have a look at the current shares. So on here we can see in terms of the address, I'll share with you the address because the address is public information. It's 3600 West Plano Parkway Suite, 3600 Plano, Texas 75093, USA. So that's the address. And the registered name of the president, as we already know, George. Let's now have a look at the current shares nominated for this new organization. So we have common shares registered here or proposed. We're looking at 250 million. So there's only a nominal value here at the moment, so 0.0001. And we also have a nominated 25 million preferred shares. Again here, value here, nominal 0.0001. So this looks like, obviously it's there is going to be a plan for these, and it looks like we're going to have to wait for George or wait for some updates in terms of what is going to happen next. And the final thing I want to look at in terms of the business information here for this new company Oilco is how much is the authorized capital. So on this next page here, we can see the authorized capital is just a small amount. It's 275,000. So We're not seeing huge figures here. We are seeing a potential share issue of common shares of 250 million. And again, we will have to wait for updates from the company in terms of what's going to happen next with these shares and with the company. And finally, now I'm just going to look at some potential speculation. So some of the speculation with regard to this oil co. Speculation number one is this could be a potential acquisition for Meta Materials. It could be a feeder company. It could be something that works with Meta. It's not currently part of Meta, so we can see it's registered as a separate entity, but the connection there between Meta and Oilco is George, so he's the president of this company as well. So certainly a connection there. So that's one possible piece of speculation. The other potential speculation is, and again, I'm not sure how much probability is in the next piece of speculation I'm going to share with you is, but could this company buy the land of Torch? So that's another question to ask. We don't know. We don't know what the next stage is. Nothing has been confirmed. We have to wait and see. But again, speculation. Nobody knows the future. Nobody knows what's going to happen. But remember, Torch was an oil company. It was a gas company. And this now we have an oil company registered from George. So could anything happen in terms of there? We don't know. We have to wait and see. Nothing confirmed. Purely speculation. However, what I would like to say is in terms of the dividend calculation, that calculation is based on a fair value of the land, fair value of oil, fair value of the number of acres. What we were promised in terms of Meta was a return of dividends once we qualify for the preference shares. So I think as investors, we need to make our voices heard that we would want a fair dividend. The calculation has been made from my point of view. It's speculative. There are other calculations there, but this is what I would like for all Torch investors qualifying for the dividend to get around this calculation, and possibly more if it is based on fair land value and if it is based on the barrel of an oil. Okay, thank you very much for watching. Please stay tuned.